The red lights of the Graham Norton show flickered on as the audience erupted into applause. Graham Norton flashed his trademark grin, glancing down the famous orange couch where an unusual mix of guests sat side by side. Emma Watson, calm and composed in a tailored emerald dress, crossed her legs neatly. Beside her sat Prince Harry, visibly tense, his jaw clenched as if he were bracing for something unseen. At first, everything followed the familiar rhythm of the show, light jokes, shared laughter, and playful banter. Graham teased Emma about her early days as Hermione, prompting warm laughter from the crowd. She smiled politely, answering with intelligence and humility, as expected. Then Graham turned to Prince Harry. "So, Harry," he began casually, "you've been quite vocal lately about the media, the monarchy, and, well, everything in between." A ripple of laughter moved through the studio, but Harry didn't smile. "Someone has to tell the truth," he said firmly. "For too long, narratives have been controlled by people who've never lived the reality." Emma shifted slightly, her expression thoughtful. Graham raised an eyebrow. "And do you feel the public understands your truth?" Harry leaned forward. "Not fully. People are quick to judge without considering trauma, generational damage, and—" "With respect," Emma interrupted gently, her voice calm but firm, "many people do understand trauma. They just don't all have a global platform to monetize it." The audience gasped. Graham's smile froze for half a second before he let out an awkward chuckle. "Well, this just got interesting." Harry turned toward Emma, surprise flashing across his face. "I'm not monetizing trauma. I'm sharing my lived experience." Emma nodded. "I believe you think that. But intention and impact aren't always the same." A hush fell over the studio. Harry's tone sharpened. "Easy for someone outside the institution to say." Emma's eyes locked onto his. "I've spent my entire adult life advocating for women's rights, education, and accountability. I know what institutions do when they're challenged. But I also know when personal responsibility gets blurred." The audience murmured in approval. Graham attempted to steer the conversation away. "Let's maybe—" "No," Harry cut in. "I'm tired of being told to stay quiet." Emma didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Then don't be quiet," she said. "But don't confuse criticism with cruelty. And don't mistake privilege for persecution." The crowd erupted into applause. Harry's face reddened. "You have no idea what it's like to be born into a system that controls every move you make." Emma replied calmly, "You're right. But I do know what it's like to step away from comfort to grow. And growth usually comes with reflection, not resentment." Graham leaned back, clearly stunned. "Emma, you're not holding back tonight." She smiled faintly. "I respect honesty. That's all." Harry shook his head. "So I'm the villain now?" "No," Emma answered. "You're human. But when humans speak publicly, they should expect dialogue, not applause." The studio fell silent again, the weight of her words settling heavily. Harry opened his mouth to respond, then paused. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. Graham cleared his throat. "Well, I think we'll take a short break." As the cameras pulled back and the music swelled, Emma sat back, composed and unshaken. Harry stared at the floor, deep in thought, the confident fire he'd arrived with now flickering dangerously low. And everyone watching knew, this conversation was far from over. When the cameras returned from the commercial break, the atmosphere in the studio had changed completely. The playful energy that usually defined the Graham Norton show was gone. Even the audience, normally buzzing with excitement, sat in an uneasy silence, sensing they were about to witness something unscripted and unforgettable. Graham Norton cleared his throat, glancing between his guests. "Well, welcome back," he said lightly, though his eyes betrayed concern. "We were having a rather passionate discussion." Emma Watson smiled politely, hands folded in her lap, calm as ever. Prince Harry, on the other hand, shifted in his seat, running a hand through his hair as if steadying himself. "I'd like to continue," Harry said suddenly. "Because moments like this are exactly why people feel silenced." Emma turned toward him. "No one here is silencing you." Harry exhaled sharply. "That's easy to say when you're praised for speaking out. When I do it, I'm told I'm whining." Emma nodded slowly. "That's because the public expects evolution, not repetition." Pain explained once as honesty. Pain repeated endlessly becomes narrative. The audience murmured again, louder this time. Harry's voice rose. "So I should just move on." Pretend it never happened. No, Emma replied. You should process it privately and speak publicly with purpose. Graham leaned forward, sensing the tension climbing again. Emma, are you saying Harry shouldn't share his story? I'm saying, she answered carefully, that when your story overshadows every other issue, war, poverty, women's rights, it invites criticism. And criticism isn't abuse. Applause thundered through the studio. Harry's expression hardened. You think I don't care about those things? I think, Emma said gently, that intent doesn't erase perception. There it was again, that calm, devastating clarity. Emma wasn't attacking. She was dissecting. And Harry knew it. For years, he said, voice cracking slightly, I watched my mother get destroyed by the press. Emma's expression softened. So did the world. He looked at her, startled. And that's exactly why, she continued, people hoped you'd rise above the cycle, not repeat it. The words hit like a hammer. Harry leaned back, silent. Graham tried to lighten the mood. Right, well, maybe we. No, Emma said softly. Let him finish. Harry swallowed. You speak like you have all the answers. She shook her head. I don't. I just believe in accountability, especially when influence is involved. The audience erupted again, louder than before. Harry glanced around, realizing the room had shifted. For the first time that night, he looked genuinely unsure. So what would you do, he asked quietly, if you were me? Emma paused. The studio held its breath. I'd stop fighting the past, she said, and start building something that doesn't depend on it. Silence. Harry nodded slowly, though his eyes revealed conflict. Maybe that's easy when you're admired. Emma met his gaze. Admiration isn't permanent. Purpose is. Graham let out a long breath. Well, I think that might be one of the most intense moments we've ever had on this sofa. Laughter rippled nervously through the audience. As the show moved on, the tension lingered. Harry spoke less, listening more. Emma remained composed, never gloating, never raising her voice. When the final credits rolled, the audience stood in a spontaneous standing ovation, not for drama, but for truth spoken without cruelty. Backstage, as the guests prepared to leave, Harry approached Emma. You didn't have to do that, he said quietly. I know, she replied. But sometimes honesty is kinder than silence. He nodded once. I'll think about what you said. Emma smiled, not in victory, but in understanding. And by the next morning, headlines everywhere would read the same thing.